Hi guys, welcome back to another video, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to mix your UK drill beats correctly, okay? You're going to get rid of sloppy mixes, it's going to sound wide, it's going to sound powerful, and it's going to be loud without being distorted, okay? So let's get straight into this video. Now, as you can see here, I've got everything without no EQs, no effects, nothing, just completely at their normal levels. The only leveling I've probably done is inside the channel rack here, okay, where I've just, turned them up or down. But in terms of the actual mixer, there is nothing here. And if I play this beat, it sounds like this so far. I'm just gonna play a little section so you can take a listen to the before, and then we're gonna do the after. So take a listen. That's one of the sections, and the other section sounds like this. As you can hear, pretty nice drill beat, okay? Simple, Central C kind of style Dave, I'd say. But in terms of the mixing, it doesn't sound like it's ready for someone to jump on it straight away. For mixing, the most simple advice I can give is volume balancing and the correct EQ is about 90% of it. The other 10% is probably just compression and saturation and stuff like that. But volume balancing is the key. And every genre has its own style of mixing that you're going to have to learn. But for drill, it is centered around the kick and the bass, okay? Those are your predominant. This is very bass heavy music where it's boom, boom, and kick heavy where it's boom, boom. Same with like trap and stuff. So the way we mix this is actually around the drums majority of the time. That's the way I look at it. So if we play this again, let's just mute the melodies and let's just listen to our drums and percussions, okay? Now, the first thing is we're gonna base this around the levels of the kick. So let's take a listen to the kick. Okay, as we can see, the kick is going way past the 0 dB. But we can't just turn this down like this and play it like this. As you can see, it's lost all its power. However, when it comes to the kick, the reason why this kick is going past way over +3 decibels, it's not because of the actual kick itself. The initial transient, and if you don't know what transients are, please go take a listen to them, look at them. The transient is just, in the simplest way, the brief, sharp, snappy moment at the start. So if I take a look at this kick, see this part here, the little ch, that's the transient, the very start of it, okay? Now, how do we get this kick to be lower in volume, perceived volume, okay? Without it sounding quieter. And the trick to this is called clipping, okay? So if you don't know what clipping is, a clipper will simply just shave off the peaks of a waveform. So you have the kick, and you know how it has the first initial transient and then it kind of curves off. What we're going to do is we're going to just we're going to clip that off, because as you can tell with the kick, yeah, if I just turn this off, if I turn it down, you can tell that it loses its power, and the reason that is because the initial power in the kick is not in the actual transient, the very start. That transient is just a very loud peak that has no direct effect with the loudness. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use our clipper to shave that off, okay? And for this, I'm gonna be using Sir Audio Tools Standard Clip. What I'm gonna do is, with the clip here, I'm gonna make this detached. I'm gonna keep playing this kick over and over. So I'm just gonna highlight this here, just like that. And as you can see, we're going to shave off the top. So you can see, we've already gone down to 0, and from a perceived loudness, does it sound any different? No, because it's all perception. However, the whole point of this in mastering and mixing is to get this master as loud as possible without distorting anything. And the way we do a lot of that is just by clipping, okay? So now I'm just gonna bring this down dramatically. As you can see, we hear distortion. I'm gonna bring it down until we hear no distortion. I think I can go a bit more. Yeah. Keep going, maybe I can push it a bit more. You can see how much I just shaved off the kick, and it still sounds the same. Take a listen now. Now the kick has power. However, what I want to do now is like that. Now, I don't want to just do that because then my loudness is going to go through the roof here. And I want to leave my master to add compression and stuff. The easiest way in music production to add loudness is just to drag everything down. So, I have the kick that I want to be louder. However, I don't want to drag this up, okay? I don't want to make this louder because then my master is going to become louder. What I want to do is I'm just going to highlight everything else like that using control and dragging, and I'm just going to bring it down, just like this. I'm going to bring it down to 0, and then I'm going to bring them up, okay, until they match what I want my kick to be. That sounds good. Now, when I'm mixing, I usually don't want my master to go over negative 6 dB here, okay? So I'm still just going to drag everything down and just still drop it a little bit. See, that's fine to me. However, we are going to add melody, and melody does increase the loudness of the overall mix. So I'm going to try to go for negative 9. So we don't go over negative 9 here. That's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. Beautiful. Okay. So we've got our kick now sitting at negative 12, and it still sounds the exact same and actually sounds a bit more powerful. So that's what clipping does. Now, let's go to the rest of our drums. I've actually just color coded them so it makes it easier. What we're going to do is I'm just going to bring these next to the kick, okay? Let's listen to the rest of the drums. Now, the thing is with the drums, you do want your drums to all be basically the same level, okay? Truth be told, anyone that told you, oh no, you want your hi-hats lower, your snares lower, no, they just don't know how to mix properly. We're going to go into the stereo field. You want your drums to basically be near the same level, okay? They need to be powerful. So I'm just going to bring these all up. Now you can kind of see that these two are colliding, kind of in the center. So when we have music, we have something called the stereo field, okay? The stereo field is the perceived spatial arrangement, okay, of sounds in music. And we can use this to create a fake sense of width and depth, okay? So what we can do is, I'm sure you've seen all these tools being used before, ozone imager, stuff like that, but no one actually knows no one explains what they do. So I'm here to do that, okay? What we do with the hi-hat here is, let's mute this. Now, the higher a frequency is, the more typically you can spread it out. And the lower frequencies you want straight down the middle for power. So kicks, bass, they're your most powerful things. You want them straight in the middle, in mono. Boom, straight down the center of your speakers. Boom. Everything else, the higher the frequency spectrum, the more you can pull things out wide and deepen them. Just that's the only thing you really need to go by. Is the lower a frequency, the more sensitive it should be. The higher a frequency, the more wide you can put it. Okay. What we're gonna do with this hi-hat is simple. I'm just gonna put imager on it. Okay. Ozone imager. And what we need to do is take a look at this correlation meter. You don't ever want this to go under 0. This is just a correlation meter for your phase. If it goes out of phase, you're just gonna have some problems listening to this on mono, okay? So we could just drag this up. Anything under 200 hertz, always mono. So negative 100 is going towards mono, and plus is going towards, you're adding mid side onto it, okay? So let's go here. Let's delete this. Let's listen to this, solo this. We can add some stereoization to this. Here we go. What all of this does, the stereoize button, is add stereo width to a signal, okay? So that's what we've just done. Now we can just make this wider. We're going to do this until it just hits above 0. Now listen in your headphones, how much wider has that become, all your speakers? Now, if I play this with the snare, compared to before, and now because we've done that and we've added more perceived wideness, okay, you can actually hear that it sounds louder, okay? It does sound louder. Now what you can do is we can turn this down. Now, this has dropped in volume on here, but it still sounds the same volume. Why? There was no actual audio coming out from the depths of the side signals, okay? We only had mid going on. Now we've added side information to our mix. Now we have more perceived loudness without it actually being louder. We've taken down the volume. And what this allows us to do later is gain more volume on our master, okay? So that sounds pretty balanced to me. Beautiful. The snare, I don't see a problem with it. It's going straight down the middle. It sounds good. We're going to leave that. Now, what I've added here is I've added a tom, believe it or not. You might call me crazy, but on the kick, I've added this just for some added extra emphasis. Literally. Take a listen to it. I think just doesn't need its volume balance. I'm just going to drag this down and bring it up till it gets to a point where I like. Yeah, that's added another little bit nice crunch to the kick. So now that our drums are mixed here, what we're going to do is we're going to bring a channel over here, a random empty channel, and we're going to send all of these to this, okay? And everything's muted. And we're going to name this drum bus. Turn this up, green. I'm going to put it green. Now, we need to make our drums hit hard, hard, hard. So what we're going to do in our drum bus is we're just going to add some, first of all, we're going to add an ozone imager. And what we're going to do is we're going to make our drums fit the stereo field so that we have our drums sounding full in every dimension and depth and the mids and the side. It sounds very full. So what we're going to do is I want to add a point at 200 hertz, one at 600, and one at 3000, like this. Now, anything under 200 hertz, straight mono. Now, this is like our low mid range, okay? 300 to 600. Now, what I could do with this is I can start to widen this. Just take a look at the correlation meter. You don't want it to go under 0. So that's about there, it's fine. Now with this, bring this up. Same with the highs. This is before. After. Before. This is before. After. Big difference, okay? It's not big difference, subtle difference, but it adds to it. What we're gonna do now is compress the drums, okay? So for this, I'm gonna use Neutron 4 compressor, okay? What I wanna do is, I want the low end to be very punchy. So we're gonna go 200 Hertz. Actually, no, we're gonna do these separately. We're gonna compress the sub and the mids very differently. So let's just focus on the sub, okay? Let's just focus on the low end for now. So here, I'm gonna solo this. Now, what we're gonna do here is, we'll go vintage, okay? And I'm gonna use a ratio of 4 to 1 to 1. I'm gonna use a slow attack, maybe 35, but a fast release. Threshold lower. What this is gonna do is just gonna glue the kick and the bass together, okay? When we're moving on in the future. But for now, I just wanna compress the kick from the peak transient to the rest of the body, okay? Take a listen. Now, what we're gonna do with the rest of the mix here is I'm gonna bring this down. I'm gonna use same ratio 4 to 1, but the attack now, the attack and release is how fast your compressor kicks in, okay? The faster your attack, the more it's going to snap the transients, and the slower your attack, the more gradual it's going to hit, okay? So use a slower attack for more gradual volume control, and use a faster attack for more instant. Now, I want snappy drums. However, I want the kick to be balanced, but I want the drums to be very snappy and so what I want to do here is the attack I'm going to put is 5, and same with the release. Fast attack, fast release. Let's take a listen. So if I play before, this is before and this is after. So you can take a look at our levels, how much more balanced they are. See this? Now, all we're going to do now is bring up everything with limiter. So we go FabFilter Pro Q2, we go Style, Bus, and all we do is we turn up, hold the gain knob here, hold Option or Alt on Windows, Option on Mac, and bring it up while playing. So click play and bring it up until you get around -3 dB on a limiter. Now what we can do with the output is just slowly bring this in until we hit about -9. That's perfect. Now if we go before our drum bass, that's before, unbalanced. Now, you get a much more thick sound, much more balanced and thick sound, okay? Now, if I play this in context to the mix now, listen. You can take a listen. It's much more balanced, okay? You don't need your kick to be boom, boom, okay? You've got a much thicker sound now. Now, let's unmute the melody. As we can see, our kick is a bit thin now. So let's see, is it the image? Maybe we can get rid of the compressor on the kick. There we go. Okay, so you're just gonna warp around with it. In this instance, I did make an error. I was compressing the low end of the kick as I would do in house music, and it didn't sound good. So what you can do is you can try different things, guys. Try compressing your low end, because that's a great thing to do, but in this instance, it didn't need it. So there we go. This is perfect now. We've got our levels capped at 9. The rest, we've got our compressor going on here. Beautiful. Now, if we hear this in context to the mix, sounding good. Now, the only issue is I can hear the 808 now is clashing with the kick. Let's take this. Now, the 808, you don't ever want the kick and 808 to hit at the same time, okay? It doesn't sound good at all. What you want to do is you want to find a method for the kick to hit and the 808 to come in straight after, and this is what we call side chaining. And the way we do that is with the kick here, we hold shift, or you can right click here, side chain to this track of the 808. Now on the 808, we go more plugins, and I'm going to open a plugin called Kickstart 2, okay? What I'm going to do here is I'm going to set this to 1/8. I'm going to click this little settings arrow here, this one here, processing and sidechain import to our kick, okay? Then I want to go back onto here and click audio. I'm going to click quick chain and bring this all the way to the left. So to the 4th. Now every time the kick hits, the bass ducks underneath here. So we can see that the kick transient ends kind of here. So we can make this like this. Maybe like this. So they never clash. Maybe like this. So when the kick ends, this comes in. So if I go before to after, you can hear it. Now the kick has room. The kick has room to breathe and go boom, punch it. Okay? So now take a listen. And now all we have to do is let's just balance these. What's this sitting at? Now typically you want a 6 dB difference between your kick and your bass, but you're just gonna go by ear. So what we're gonna do here is I'm just gonna bring this up. 15 sounds good. We've got this going at 9 to 15 is 6 dB, so this should work. And now with the bass, I'm just going to add some stereo imaging to this because I can hear it is wider. With UK drill, you do have to be kind of wary because a lot of the producers will just decide to randomly just widen their basses. I don't know why that's a thing, but it kills mixing engineers. So what we're going to do is just go 200 Hertz solo. You can see this bass is completely out of phase. If I play this in mono, it would not sound good at all. Can I go mono? Does it want me to? You hear it's lost its power. So yeah, you gotta watch out about that. These UK drill producers, I don't know why, but they have no idea how to mix anything and they just decide to put the basses in complete stereo. And it kills mixed engineers' lives. Solo, central. Anything under 200 Hertz should be in the middle. Let's go the rest here. This is under 0. Keep listening. We're gonna have to make it more mono. Okay. Now if I go back to playing this in mono, you can hear compared to before. I got my power back, okay? So that's the first thing, making sure everything in the low end is under 200 and this is completely in phase. Now we're back in phase, okay? And we don't need to do anything else to this 808. I think it sounds perfectly fine. It's balanced with the rest of the mix. Yeah, it's pretty balanced. Let's bring the volume back up. Now I have this other bass going boom, boom, boom. Let's take a listen. I think we are also, this sounds, it's a much wider sound. So what I'm going to do is imager on this again. Oh, we got +1. Just under 200 hertz. Low. So it doesn't collide with anything. You want anything low to just stay low. You don't want your low frequencies, guys, to be anywhere in the stereo field other than the center. I can promise you it's not going, you want your melodies and other elements to be able to fill up the stereo field, not your low frequencies. It doesn't sound good. Low. You can make this a bit wider. I think that sounds nice. Yeah, beautiful. So the rest of the mix is fine to go up. Beautiful. Let's get some perks here. I think the perks don't really need any type of mixing effects on them. They sound fine. Beautiful. I think that sounds beautiful. Let's get to the melody now. Now, the first thing I can notice is I can hear there's a lot of low end around here. You can see? And if I play that without bass, you can hear there's like a lot of, while the bass is going boom, 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 you can hear this is kind of going boom, boom, and they don't sound very nice together. What I am going to do is just remove enough low end with just a low cut where it doesn't kill the sound. So I'm going to just over exaggerate, bring this up here and just bring it low until it sounds fine. This is the way to low cut. It's just over exaggerate everything and drag it back until it sounds normal. And at that point, leave it. That's fine. I've got rid of majority of the bass here, 142 hertz, so all the bass now can breathe. And if I needed to do any additional EQing, I could just do a bell and just literally just drop it a little bit like that. And that sounds perfect. See? We've got rid of the low end, but it still contains its body and its actual sound. So take a listen. We've kept the sound, sounding beautiful. And we've removed the bass, allowing our 808 to breathe. So take a listen now. It's sounding beautiful, guys. Now we've got a counter melody. Now, the only issue is we've got to make sure that our counter melody and our melodies do not collide. So take a listen. Now, there is multiple ways to do this. We can pan them, or we can just add mid-side separation to these. So I'm going to open this Pro Q4 on this here. Detach this. And on this one, I'm going to add, on our second melody, I'm going to add a Pro Q4, okay? And detach this like this. I'm going to put them side by side here. Let's take a listen. Now, the issue is both our melodies, core frequencies live in the low mids, around 650, okay? So I take a listen to this. So what we're gonna have to do is, the easiest way to create separation is we can just remove some of the mid information from our violin, okay? So 400 hertz here, and we've got about 400 hertz here, yeah? Same. What I want to do here is just go band 0 thing. I want to put this to stereo mid and click the cut button. Now you have the sides, and I'm just going to dip the mids and leave the side information there, okay? So take a listen. So now we got our main melody keeping majority of the center information playing that's audible, and on our counter melody we didn't touch anything. All we did was just remove some of the mids and keep the side information. So now we got a full sound. We got our main melody straight down bam covering the center, and we got our counter melodies covering the side, adding the depth and width. As you can see, now if I play them in context to each other with everything unmuted, take a listen. And what I believe beautiful. It sounds well balanced now, guys. So now what we could do in our master, the way to mix a master is always mix based on the loudest section of your song, where the most elements are. So in this instance, it'd be here. So what I want to do is I'm going to put this on loop. And now what we can do is go into our master. First thing I'm going to do is add an ozone imager. And same thing, under 200 hertz, solo, low. Now we're going to go our mid-range to 1000, and then we'll go to our highs of 6000. So let's see this. Add some depth maybe. As long as this doesn't go, we'll go at 0. Nah, we might have to actually go backwards a little bit. We want this above 0 in all cases. So keep listening. Just make sure that it doesn't go below 0. You want it as close to 0, but without going under 0. Perfect. Take a listen to this. A bit lower maybe. Perfect. So that's perfect. This makes our song mono compatible, where everything still has its power in mono, okay? That's how we use imaging. Now, what I can hear is a lot of piercing in the high, like tss, 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 tss. See, it's very hard on the ear. So what we can do is we can open a plugin called Soothe 2. And I believe the frequency range was around 1 to 3000 kilohertz. Yeah, 1 to 6000. So what we can do is just turn everything off in this plugin. Soothe 2 is it's a dynamic resonance suppressor. So basically, in a nutshell, the simplest way to explain it is it identifies and reduces harsh or unpleasant frequencies. Okay. So what we could do is just bring this to 1000. Low cut this to, we want 1000 to 5000. Here, and we'll just have this one here, like that. Okay, bring the Q down, just like that. And we'll put listen. And we'll just go soft. Let's take a listen now. Now if I go hard, you can see you've lost all your power, but maybe you don't want to kill too much. That sounds good. So we've removed a lot of those harsh sounds. Beautiful. Now what we could do is we can add a compressor. In this instance, I would recommend a bus compressor, something that will be good for that. But you can also, for demo's sake, we could just use the isotope. We could use the neutron 4 compressor as well here. So I meant we could just go default. I'll remove all the bands. Go modern. We'll go vintage. Ratio, we want a pretty small ratio. We don't want to compress this too much. Attack, we'll put 35. Release 5. Okay? And we only want around 1 to 2 B of compression. Okay, guys? You don't really, just as the final touches of glue. Take a look at the meter here. Now what we can do is that's compressed. We can add another clipper. Okay, resolution oversampling 32. Clip. Want to clip again, the peaks. Not too much, maybe 1 dB, 1 to 2 dB. Beautiful. And look, we're still only at negative 12 dB, and yet how loud does this sound, guys? How loud does it sound, and we're still so low in decibels? Now we're just going to add a limiter. Pro Q2 is fine for this. Detach this. And style, I want to go punchy. Okay? Out, we'll go output level minus 1. Okay? Just before it clips. Now we're going to go bring this gain up. I'm just going to bring up an LUFS meter actually. Is there no LUF meter somewhere? I should be able to see it in Fab Filter here. Loudness here. And you can see when we've brought up the loudness, we just need to actually, I've got rid of the clipper because the clipper is adding too much distortion for my liking. But we can see here that we still have a few frequencies that we do need to look after in the master. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a Fab Filter Pro Q and just start doing a bit of EQing. frequencies that don't sound that good. There's a lot of boxiness here. I'm just going to dip a bit of this, but just in the mids, not the sides. Just like that. I'm going to dip the side information here. I want the bass to be prominent here, so I'm going to dip the side. Like that. I'm going to dip this frequency. In general, it's not really pleasant just here. Maybe 1.5. Sounds good. And there was a frequency here. I just want to add dynamic 1.5 dB of just taming to this. Sounds much better to me. Put the limiter back on it. I think with the kick, original kick here, I think let's not clip it too much because it sounds like it's distorting a little bit. Let's just... Much better. And beautiful. That sounds well balanced. Now, if we go to the very before, the very start, let's listen to the before and after. Let's listen to the after. And I promise you, if you send a beat like that, that's mastered like that, to any mixing engineer, they are going to be your best friend, and so will artists, okay? And all you can do from here is just export, WAV file, you can go stems, just like this, and I'll show you something, name them style stems, turn off, and export, you split mixer tracks, export this, and once you export this, and we put them into another project, you'll see how well the waveforms actually look, and they look the way they're supposed to be mixed. And these are basically already mastered. Your mixing engineer is going to have the easiest time of his life, and he's going to thank you, and he's going to recommend you, and your overall professionalism and quality and playable, how good your beats are going to be able to be played is going to be huge. So I'm just going to bring these here, and I'm just going to turn off anything that has a bus. So master needs to get rid of, and bus, get rid of. That's it, beautiful. Let's take a listen to this. Get rid of snare, get rid of counter snare. Where's the kick? There you go. is your master stems. Give this to any artist, producer, it's perfect. Because what they can do from here is just add ozone straight away. Yep, and that's the stems, guys. You can hear how beautiful it sounds. So that is how you mix and master a drill song like a pro for a beat. And I guess if you guys want, I'll make another tutorial of how to mix and master an actual drill song itself. But hope you guys learned something. I'll be making another video for rookies because I know I use some plugins that you would have to have some knowledge on. But if not, I hope you learned something. And yeah, follow, subscribe for more tutorials. Take care.